Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
What is going on, squaddies? Demian here, and it's such a privilege to come live to you from Nashville. I think that's where I am, Nashville, yes. But before I start and I tell you a little bit about myself, I want to thank my sister from another mister, Sophie, the one and only soccer diva, my dear friend, and of course, Mr. Kevin Campbell. Boom, Super Kev. Is such an honor to be in a show with you and be part of such a wonderful thing that you do, not only for Arsenal, but for Arsenal women. As you might have read, I am basically subbing in for Sophie today because she can't make it, but I am here in Nashville. And like I said, and I have some time here in my hotel room, so I figured I would bring you some thoughts regarding not only Arsenal women so far this season, but also Vivianne Miedema. So before I get started, for all of you that don't know, and you're wondering where the hell is this guy and who is he? My name is Demian. I'm a professional musician, currently on tour with the Jonas Brothers playing percussion, and I have a massive love, like you, not only for Arsenal Football Club, but also Arsenal women. And it's a love that has been developing for the past few years. And you've heard me on this before, and you might have heard my podcast, That Arsenal Women podcast. And I just basically wanted to not only speak about the past couple of games and the importance that they've had, but just a little bit of a vibe overall that I've been getting from the team. So this season, or last season, was frustrating for a lot of us. We all had a lot of opinions as far as the system that we should have used, or who should have been on the team and who shouldn't have, and so on and so forth. Like with the men's team, I think it's normal for us to speculate, and it's really fun to, you know, come up with our own ideal lineups and so on and so forth. But what was rough was that I thought that we had a phenomenal squad, that we should have won something. Unlike the male counterparts, where we feel that there's a lot of things lacking in players, development, and so on and so forth, the women's team always felt very much a complete thing for me for a long time. And I just thought that the coach wasn't necessarily the correct one, or he wasn't getting the best out of the players. Two of those players are, specifically speaking, they're Dutch players. My favorite player of all time, Daniela van de Donk and Gilles Roord. And they both got traded this, well, they both were sold this off season. And when we heard that, or us Arsenal women fans, especially two players that are beloved in the community, that are beloved within the team, that were part of this big Arsenal team spirit, it was a punch in the gut. You know, whenever your favorite player leaves, it's always rough, and we know that all too well. Regardless of the reasons, we've seen Ashley Cole leave, we've seen Cesc Fabregas leave, of course Thierry Henry, we've seen Robin van Persie leave. So we're used to these transactions, you know, and we're used to the heartache, and we're used to the heartbreak, and we're used to the betrayal, so to speak. That's no fun. So for me, when two of my favorite players leave, and you'll know this about me, I'm obsessed with Dutch football, specifically Dutch women and the Dutch Lionesses. And when Daniela van de Donk leaves, and when Gilles Roord leaves, are two of my favorite players, it's you start worrying about a lot of things. You know, you start worrying about the direction of the club, you start worrying about the ambition, you start worrying about how are these players going to, you know, continue with this spirit when two of the most, you know, outspoken personalities, two of the most charismatic people leave the club. You get worried. Then shortly before the season started, Jordan Nobbs gets injured, one of our Talus women, you know, one of the people that represent the club at the most and are basically the spirit of Arsenal Football Club. It's insane to know how much he suffered with injury. So that was another punch that you're like, oh my God, what is this gonna happen? You know, and Leah Williamson renewing for only 1 year, or Vivianne Miedema not renewing, and we don't know what's gonna happen in her future. So a lot of things started going at least through my mind, and I know a lot of fans were thinking about this. And I know this not only because of the conversations on Twitter, but because of I started a show on Twitch in which I would talk a lot with fans and interact, and a lot of them were worried and they felt a little lost and they didn't know what the hell to do. Parallel to this, there is players like Beth Mead that were not called up to the Olympics squad, which was absurd in my opinion. Beth Mead is world class, and she's showing it this year more than ever. And I always predicted she would have the best year of her career. But anyhow, you know, all these things were like, what's happening? And little by little, obviously we knew back in March, I believe, or maybe it was May, I forget, that Joe Montemurro was not going to continue with the club. And I was pretty excited. I was happy about that. I wanted to see, I personally wanted a female to take charge. I thought it was the right time for a woman to carry on the torch and do better than him and get better out of the players. And we hired Jonas Eideval. Apparently I can't get away of the name Jonas or Jonas. And it has been a breath of fresh air, unbelievable. The system that he's playing, and of course the players that he has brought in. Nikita Paris, recently Tobin Heath, of course, Mana Iwabuchi, and Frida Manum, among others that have been just absolutely stellar. How they've been able to fit into that squad, what they've been able to do, how they've been able to create chances for each other, how they're basically all interchangeable. To see that midfield trio of Leah Valti, Kim Little, and Frida Manum is insane, or that front three with Katie McCabe and Viviana Miedema, and of course Beth Mead. Sometimes when they play two in the midfield with Mana Iwabuchi, it's just absurd. And then, you know, Steph Catley and you know, Jen Beattie, Leah Williamson, our Tony Adams, and Noel Maritz. It's just an insane lineup. We're just absolutely stacked, and it's just amazing to see. And then, you know, part of you as a fan, you know, you see the freedom in which some players play, and you're like, I wonder what DVD would have done on this team. I wonder what Jill Rohr would have done in this team, and why didn't we do this before? And, you know, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you like to assume, you know, from the board, the direction of the club, and so on and so forth. You hear about you know, developmental facilities or academies shutting down, and you assume things, but we don't know all the information. So anyway, it has been somewhat of a turmoil-filled off season for a lot of us fans. But now it has been sort of like wonderful, to say the least. So specifically speaking, the last couple of games have been incredibly meaningful. On Thursday, we the women beat Sparta Prague, and they qualified for the group stages of the Champions League, and we're gonna face Barcelona, which is gonna be insane, with, you know, Hermoso, and with, of course, Lika Martins, and it's just gonna be an amazing match. So I'm really looking forward to that. But more importantly, selfishly speaking for us, was the fact that Viviana Miedema, aside from scoring a hat trick, she scored her 100th goal for the club. And I'll speak about that in a minute. But she was also assisted by Beth Mead. And that was last Thursday. And then on, I forget exactly what day, I think it was Sunday, they played Reading. And Reading is always a tough match, you know, the whole London Derby situation. But it was really good to see. It was wonderful to see Jen Beattie get on the scoreboard, and she is cancer survivor. She's more than a role model. She's just this angel that we have, and it's just such a privilege to have her on our team. And who else? I believe Viv scored a couple. Do I have some notes here about that? Beth scored a goal, cracker, thunder of a goal, and Viviana Miedema scored. Haha. Surprise. Again, she scored 2 goals, both set up by Beth. And recently, you've seen this whole Miedema, the combination of, Beth Mead and Viviana Miedema, their last names. they harmoniously match. And it's just so amazing to see those two link up and to be so connected. It's just wonderful. It's magical. And, you know, and I've spoken about this before, you know, as Arsenal fans, you know, we're not going through the best of periods. And, you know, I make no secret that I don't like comparing the men to the women. So I'm not really going to do that because I don't think it's fair to either one. And, you know, a lot of the things that we're lacking and we're missing from the men's perspective of being a fan of the men's team, they exist on the women's team. Champions League football exists. The best player on the planet is on our team. Some of the most solid, most respected professionals are on our team. Homegrown talent, you know, the whole, you know, one of our own situation, we have that. We have high-flying wingers. We have amazing number 10s. We have a deep bench. So anything and everything that we could ever want that is lacking from one side, we have it, and we have it under the same umbrella, which is Arsenal. So yes, I'm not here to sort of tell you what to do or claim that I'm a bigger fan than anybody, or that, you know, we need the support or whatever. I think that as fans, we owe it to ourselves and to the club that we love to show support as much as we can club-wide. And right now, beyond just showing support, let's just say that you don't want to just show support because you don't want to, and you want something out of this, right? Let's just say that you want to be selfish and you want to get something out of it. Well, now is the time. With Viviana Miedema playing lights out, the best forward on the planet. Her finishing is ridiculous. If you haven't seen the video that Arsenal put up with her, all of her goals, 100 goals, it's just, I mean, I just have to like tip my hat, take it off, and it's just unbelievable. Her finishing, her vision, her speed, her pace, her power. She's two-footed, 0 penalties. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on about her and pay tribute upon tribute upon tribute. All you have to do is hear what other people say. All you have to do is watch that video. And, you know, I've watched, I want to say, on TV, of course, maybe half of those, I want to say. I recognize most of those goals, and I'm like, I feel bad that I didn't watch them before. I'm like, oh man, I could have seen all of them, you know. So it's just a privilege to be, you know, part of this club, to have her among other players. She's not the only world-class player. We have Kim Little, we have Mane Wabuchi, we have Steph Catley, Leah Williamson, Beth Mead, who I think is world-class. So if nothing else, if you want to be proud and boast and show off and be arrogant, now is the time to do it, because you can actually back it up. And it's such a privilege to watch these incredible women play. And beyond all this, and you know this because if you're a fan of the women's sport and you have common sense, you know that women in sports have to battle so much and have to battle against so many things. And it's a constant uphill battle. And now where we think like everything is cool and you know, it's all modernized, and there's still a long way to go. And keeping all these things in mind, to see somebody like, I'm just singling Viv out because of her scoring 100 goals. It's just absolutely incredible, and I just feel privileged to do that, because we haven't had, in my opinion, a player like that since obviously Thierry Henry left. You know, most of us obviously remember the Invincibles and how that squad was just absolutely magnificent and perfect. And there hasn't been something like that personally that I have felt. You know, maybe the Hleb, Fabregas, Rosicky days, but even then there was just something that I always felt missing, and there was some weakness in the team. And seeing how this squad is playing, it's something very special. So I'll finish with this. Even though it's basically impossible for me to feel that a team without my favorite player of all time can be even more successful than they have been, just because it creates cognitive dissonance, and I don't know how to react to that or how to even process it. But to feel that a team without, in this case, Daniela van de Donk and Jill Ward, can accomplish the things that I feel this team is going to do or accomplish is it's crazy for me to think. So what I'm trying to say is, I feel that there's something really, really special in this squad that I actually haven't felt before. There is this confidence. The camaraderie has always been there, but I don't think that we had the right coach for certain big matches, like against Chelsea, for example. And to beat Chelsea and to have Man City drop points, that's huge. That is really, really, really big in this virtually a 3-horse race that it has been for the past few years. So all I'm saying is watch them now, enjoy it, because I think we're on the brink of something special, and I don't think we're not gonna win anything this season. I think we're gonna win 1 or 2 trophies, if not more. I'm just incredibly confident of that. Even with Barcelona, I'm confident that we can take on any team, honestly. I don't care who it is. The only hard thing would be either Wolfsburg, because we play against Dom Jansen, to me the best defender in the world, and ex-Arsenal player, of course, and Lyon with Daniela van de Donk. And, you know, it's just, that's just something that I feel like it's a secret that all us Arsenal fans have been experiencing as of late more than ever, especially this season. We're just like, we just can't wait. Everybody's so excited, so optimistic. Aside from Jordan Nobbs, of course, and a couple of injuries here and there, it doesn't feel like we're just overrun with injuries. So there's just a really good spirit. And again, I'm just really happy. So, you know, if you are new to the Arsenal women, you don't know where to begin, you want to know about the players, you want to know, you know, sort of where they're from, what their best position is, according to, obviously, opinion, or their previous success at different clubs, please reach out. I'm always here to try to answer questions. Sophie knows a lot as well. And, you know, it's always great when we have the support of people like Kevin Campbell and, of course, Ian Wright and other players that are constantly supporting. And to that note, I'll say something that has been on my mind, and it might not be the most positive of things to say, but I feel like I have to mention something. And it's that, you know, you rarely see any interaction between the men's team and the women's team. Every so often you might see a post like, you know, good luck against Man United or whatever, but it's not like this organic, genuine support that it almost feels like somebody told them what to do. And recently, I forget exactly who used a helmet like Petr Cech would use, and he commented on it, like in a good way, you know, made a comment. And I was like, Jesus, when like a former, well, yes, granted he played for Arsenal, but let's be real, he's a Chelsea legend. So when a Chelsea legend and an executive for Chelsea right now interacts more with our women's squad than our own players, there's something really crazy about that. But that's just food for thought. I would love to know what you think. So again, I just want to thank everybody for lending me 18 or so minutes of your time. It's a privilege to cover for Sophie today. And of course, my warm regards and a big hug to the legend that is Super Kevin Campbell. And to all of you, I've known some of you or met some of you, we've interacted before. If you're interested to more of what I have to say, you can always check out my podcast, That Arsenal Women Podcast. And I do some Twitch streams from time to time. But more importantly, please continue to support the Highbury Squad. Like, subscribe, share, show to some people. We're trying to do our best to bring you awesome, wholesome, informative content that is full of intelligent discussion. That is, in this case, might be a little educational. And again, I'm always available if you have a question, if you want to know more about the squad, players to look out for, who some of my favorite players are, why I fell in love with Arsenal women, and so on and so forth. So please stay tuned. Again, subscribe and share this with anybody and everybody that you know that will enjoy this. But thank you again. Much love to all of you guys. See you later.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.